Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, our very special friends of Mountain Echoes, and of course, televiewers of DMRO TV in the Diocese of Boya. Out of the Diocese of Boya, we know that we have fans and followers right up in the United States, in Canada, the UK, and Belgium, and you may name the rest. I want to say good evening to you all. Today, Tuesday, we are addressing two deeply sensitive and challenging issues that impact individuals, families, and societies around the world, and Cameroon in particular: suicide and the killing of innocent babies. This subject touches on complex ethical, legal, and emotional considerations that affect individuals and communities. We will look at the various perspectives surrounding these issues, aiming to foster understanding and compassion. Stay with us as we delve deeper into this difficult topic, offering insights, expert opinions, and resources for those who need help. That is why we have, like I said, we shall be looking at the suicide, killing of innocent babies. I was just told that infanticide, so it's just suicide, infanticide, some other kind of terminologies. We're going to get them as we look properly into this topic of today. What exactly can be done? And we have videos also showcasing, women carrying babies for over 9 months, and then, at the end of it, abandoning. It's like someone, the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope is just by the corner. We had the test race the other day, and, getting to Bunduma, and then you just stop by then, maybe around the Bunduma gate, so you want to take one in Sembeck. After, just imagine. That's just almost what happens. You've gone right up to the summit, and then, when you find yourself around Bunduma, you're the first. And then you say you want to take one man before you continue. It's like, or you abandon the thing. Now that Insambeck is preferable than coming back from the mountain. That's how I may look at it. Whereas it's even more deeper and serious than that kind of stuff. So we have on board. We begin from my left. She's going to tell us about herself. She was here, and the bishop congratulated them, and even the bishop of the Diocese of Kumbo. They know the Congresum women and the Congresum Fako. They know them, but she's not for them today. Yes, she's for something else. So good evening, Madam Maureen, and welcome.
Father, good evening, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Good evening, everyone back home. And Father, like you said, our fans are out there. I know I've been missing for a while, and last week I said I've come back fully. So I want to salute in a very special way my number one fan, Commissaire Bomzile Eric, and other fans that I will not name them today. Those in the UK, those in the US, my stainless sisters, and of course the Congresum women, and my colleagues. Pardon.
Which you don't want to name.
Yes, I.
There are over 400 and something of them.
So many of them.
Yeah, Congresum Fako is Moyoka, Limbe, Tico, and Boya.
Yes,
wow. Beautiful.
Yes, so it's a very large group. But though I was talking about my fans, I already have a very large fan base.
Yeah.
And I think I'll have to come out with a long list so that next week I'll do it. Fan club.
So the Stainless Sisters promise coming on TV. They have not come. This is 2025.
2025, Father, we're going to do something about it. Honestly, I'm going to
come and support our TV. We need water. We need to pay bills. We need to buy bundles from Orange, MTN, and the rest.
Yes, and I deliver your message every day. I'm going to do something about it. We already, this is a new year, 2025. It's a year of difference, especially with us, the Stainless Sisters. So we're going to come. It's a promise.
And come well.
And I also want to say good evening to my family back home watching me. Love you all, and Happy New Year again once more to everybody who has not seen us hear me as the start of 2025.
Thank you very much, Madam Maureen. I'm tempted to say to Professor Judith that maybe the Covenant Mothers, I don't know. Well, good evening and welcome. Maybe you just tell us a little about yourself. You promise, staying somehow now permanently, because you've been out also busy with some other things, family, school, and job site, and the rest.
Okay, thank you, Father. Good evening. Good evening, fans of the DMR TV, televiewers, my family members, and I'll extend greetings to a few, the Covenant women, the Covenant family. I often call it the Covenant family, made up of the students, the staff, clerical staff, parents, and relatives and friends. And then I'll say good evening to colleagues as well, and a good evening to my neighbors, and then to my immediate family.
Wow, that's
my husband back there at home is following this live. Good evening to you, Dr. Nyanga Bernard. Good evening, my babies.
There are many of them.
I have many babies.
Well, one of the big babies, right?
Yes, I have many.
Yeah, and this way we have Madam Mary Delphine. She has been missing, but she's very close to the TV this time around. So we expect her coming up with some other issues, not just Mountain Echoes, maybe some kind of special things. You're welcome. And just tell the viewers maybe Happy New Year, because most they have not seen you, if I'm not making a mistake, since 2025.
Thank you, Father. Happy New Year to everyone. Actually, I've not been here for a while. I'm happy to be back. I was just busy with other things. Yeah, this is our family, this is our place. So I want to extend my special Happy New Year to everybody, all the viewers, all the fans, and my family, my children, especially Mondi Donald Bless, Mondi Laura, Mondi Isidore, and Burinyoy and the rest, and especially to my darling mother and everybody, my colleagues, and everyone that has been following this program and following my channel on YouTube on mental health. So we are here to talk about something so important, and just stay tuned and you will get more things that can help us, help the society, help everybody to heal and to live a holistic life.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Mary Delphine, for that. And the last, we are not gender biased. Mr. Bo is with us. Mr. Bo, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, fellow viewers, good evening, Father, and fellow panelists. Father, I want to reveal a secret to you today.
Yeah.
Through you, through Mountain Echoes, and through divine mercy, I became a part of the family, of the covenant family. Yeah. And I'm proud to say that. so I'm proud to say that.
Yeah.
So I became part of the covenant family, and working at the Covenant University is a privilege.
Okay.
Through the blessings got in divine mercy, because I need to appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, I wish to explain a special greetings to Dr. Bo Mike, who was admitted in the rite of diaconate in Germany, in Canada, on the 18th of this month. That is permanent deacon.
Permanent deacon.
Yeah, permanent deacon. He had the rite on the 18th. Special greetings and prayers to him, and to the Birokol family, which turned 60. 60, and the atmosphere is still very, very warm with the celebrations. A rare occasion where we had all the bishops who passed through Birokol, apart from Bishop Bomi, I think, but all the bishops and several, and a good number of priests joined ex-students from different parts of the country and the world to say thank you to God. I wish to extend greetings to all the Birokol family.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll maybe conclude on that domain by saying Happy New Year to all the fans of Mountain Echoes, those who have not had opportunity to follow us, maybe on Facebook, our Facebook page, or maybe directly on TV because of our power failure. We want to say God has a reason for everything, and things are being put together. We shall be getting these things as time unfolds. So continue to pray for each other. Thank you for being always there. We are here because you're out there, and keep on following us. Mountain Echoes, like I said, we should be looking at this topic, suicide and killing of innocent babies. What exactly can be done? Professor Nyanga, just looking at the topic, what comes in your mind with the kind of things that happens around us? Anyway, before we get to that, I was very impressed following the inauguration ceremony of President Donald Trump. I had just, after one thing he said, the other things were not very necessary for me. He declared that in the United States of America, we have the male and the female gender. And after that, the other things were not necessary for me, which I must give him kind of applause, kicking aside or maybe gay marriages, all those kind of things, like homosexuality, all those things that are there like that. He was like, from that particular, maybe those words, I was happy that at least there's someone still working. That God is working in different kind of ways. Anyway, we'll be coming to that. I'm sure we are in Cameroon. Let's keep capital aside from that from us now. Let's get to our topic. So, Professor Judith, looking at the topic of today's edition, what do you think about it? What comes in your mind?
Okay, when we talk of suicide, we mean intentional killing of a person. A person kills himself or herself. He premeditates it before carrying out the act, so it's intentional.
Yeah.
When we talk about infanticide, killing of an innocent baby, it's a situation where an innocent baby is intentionally killed. It has been happening throughout human history. And it often happens in communities where they think that the infant is a burden, will become a burden to the parents or to the community, or the infant comes out with some form of malformations and deformities. So in many cultures, they see such children as children that shouldn't grow, and they intentionally kill them. In other cultures, they see children from some strangers, people they'll put in quotes, strangers, or people they will say are outcasts, or people they will say are cursed. They will say that the mother is carrying a curse, or the father is carrying a curse, and they think that if this child lives, this child will grow to bring that curse in that community. And so they intentionally kill the infants at birth. If it is killed before birth, while in the womb, we can say it's an abortion or a neonaticide. That means they contemplate it and decide that this one will not live, and so let this one go out. It can happen among young people, it can happen among adults, it can happen by individuals deciding, and it can happen by a community, a family agreeing and a community agreeing to do away with the child. That is infanticide, neonaticide, and then suicide, the one that we commit. A person sits, thinks, contemplates, decides. It goes through a series of steps before arriving at suicide.
Yeah. So the first, you said suicide, meditate. So what do you think could be the reason you'll come in? What do you think maybe could be, the immediate kind of, I'm sure we have like in history, we have there's immediate, we have remote causes, we have immediate causes,
yeah.
And then there are about three.
Yeah.
There are about three of them. So could we put this in this kind of situation?
Yeah. Remote causes are things that happened a long time ago in the person's life, but the person had not overcome them. The person lives a day-to-day life, and an onlook at things, the person is normal.
Yeah.
He seemingly looks normal, but he has not overcome that difficulty, and he keeps on thinking of what use is life. Though he thinks like that, he has not arrived a point where he thinks I should just do away, I can't live anymore. Those are remote causes. It could be something like abuse in childhood, physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, living in an environment where people talk to you the way they want. They don't see you as worth living. They don't see you as a human person. Some are even not just infants. Some women in abusive marriages, or even men in abusive marriages, start contemplating it from the time they enter the marriage. So they could live in it for 20 years. It's something they had been contemplating. Then as time goes on, more events occur. It gets to a point where raising of children becomes a burden, or if it's a young child, it gets to a point where even having a good place to sleep becomes a burden. Having something to eat becomes a burden. He has to beg, or she has to beg, and then that person starts seeing himself or herself as a burden to society. Start seeing yourself as unwanted. When you start thinking that it could also be sometimes because you have deformities. Somebody born blind, it's not the person's fault, but everywhere you go, people see that blind man. Yes, they stigmatize you. It could also be that you're born with a genetic defect. You're born with bipolar syndrome, right? Yeah, you can, any of those syndromes. Polyploidy, you have more fingers than others.
Or feminism.
Down syndrome.
Yes, like a woman when you are a man.
Yeah, okay. So you could be born with any of these congenital conditions. It's not your fault, but society has refused to accept you, and so you start contemplating how you can get out of this society that doesn't want you. These are remote causes. Now, as you draw nearer, certain things will trigger it, and the person will just think, I want to die. Look at a young girl who is struggling in such a situation, is begging for accommodation somewhere, and then somebody in that house abuses her, or maybe the person she's looking up to abuses her. It's an immediate, and then on top of the abuse, she may go for a test and is pregnant. The war collapses. It's like her war has ended. Such a person, if not well counseled, and if the person has not built a strong mind in the early days of growing up, the person will contemplate suicide.
Anyway, we're coming back to that. There's something, a book I've not placed my hand on that book. Father Sebastian Fonsa told me about this book by title, Why Do Good Things Happen to, or Bad Things Happen to Good People? We'll be coming back to that. Madam Morena, looking at the topic of this edition with what all the things that are happening in the world, especially in Cameroon, just beside us, in Bokwango and some other places in the southwest region. What do you think about the topic? We just paused where Mama ended. We'll be coming back to that. But just looking at the topic, what do you think about it? Leaving the house, coming and, I'm sure you have that on your status also. What do you want to tell the world about this whole thing?
Father, I want to just say that this topic is very timely, and I'm sure it is what happened around us in Bokwango, maybe that triggered, you to come out with a topic, and we say it every time that we'll continue talking till someone learns something, or till we are able to transform the world. I just wanted to throw a little more light on what happened in Bokwango, because we're talking of infanticide, which is the intentional killing of a child below 1 year, and we talked of neonaticide, like it's exactly what happens to around us here in Bokwango, because that one is mostly done by biological parents and maybe within 24 hours after the child is given birth to. Because when we start looking at the causes of that particular scenario that happens, you realize that it's simply because of ignorance. The children are not sensitized. Some child, like we've been preaching about sex education. She's not aware of anything, and then she gets pregnant and is able to hide it from the family for a very long time and give birth. And one thing that is particular about this neonaticide is that most of these people or girls that commit this act, they usually give birth alone. I usually wonder where they take the strength and the power and the courage from.
So when you talk about giving birth alone, how is it what my mom used to say, like maybe this call them is it she has a name. She says they are from the tribe of Moses. How they call those people? Is it,
Hebrew women.
Yes, my mom used to say that.
It's different from that.
Yeah.
Because with a Hebrew woman, you do it bravely, served in the hospital.
Okay, something else.
But this one is something that a person.
You go sit in the house and do it alone.
Yes, you think that what happened to this girl? Nobody was around her. Yes. She did it alone. And she monitors everybody and has to hide in a safe environment to carry out the act. And because what she intended was to kill, though we learned that the baby survived, but what she wanted to do was neonaticide, killing the child. Immediately she gave birth to the child.
We'll be coming back to that after looking at that video, so that we can evaluate the video properly and maybe to have one or two things on this site. Mr. Bo, it has been like women voices, or the voices of women. There's a program like that with Madam Ann Wonjong at the CIO TV on Wednesday, the morning after, in the course of after morning show. What do you have? This is not a kind of women stuff only. Men too, they contribute to that. Some abandon the women and then they have no choice than to take this kind of option, which is not also the best. But then some contribute to, so it concerns the men also. Just looking at the topic on behalf of all the men, what do you have to say? What do you have to say just looking at the topic?
Father, this is a very pertinent topic in our society today, because the fifth commandment says, "Thou shalt not kill," and no form of killing is being tolerated, so far as moral principles are concerned. When I got the topic, I reflected on the Maputo Declaration, which brought about that the woman has the right to commit an abortion if she's raped. And there I put on a question sign reflecting on. I go back to the adage which we always say in Latin, cooperatio and malo. Now each time when an event occurs, sometimes we blame the woman only, but sometimes the contributors to that, the man the person maybe who impregnated the lady at that stage, and they who also persuaded the lady to commit to do carry on the act of infanticide or whatever the case, is also partners. All of them have committed the same crime. They've all killed. But unfortunately, our society, sometimes the male fold their arms and they think that they are very, very free, and it is a woman act because that incident occurred to her, they are blamed. But now, generally, I've had several situations of suicide, which resulted to, as a result of depression and frustration. I witnessed some cases down when I was growing up in Great Support, of a case of a man who was very hard on the wife, and one of the times he slapped the wife collapsed and died. And finally, yes, in Street 7.
Witnessed that.
In Street 7, and he had to go to the bush, but this what we call rat vaccine, drank and died in the food scene. So many other things came up because why? He reflected on an incident of sitting. That wife was like, do all. After the man had gone on retirement, the wife carried on petty business which supported the whole household. For the first time, after the wife died, the children came and requested for money to buy some items so that they can prepare food in the house. He has never heard that for the past 10 years. That took him behind. So generally, many things have occurred in the society. I had one situation when I was doing CVE in Yobe, and which come about a case of, I don't want to call the lecturer because it is real. I went to what we call a holy obedience. I was not convinced because of my doctrine. He indicated that the baby was born, and they realized from the hospital that the child, he had a brain tumor, that the child was going to suffer when growing up. So they decided with the to carry on euthanasia. I said, excuse me, sir, that was wrong. They debate, only one girl supported me in the whole class of 300. The rest, and out of holy obedience, I kept quiet, but not because I was convinced, because he told me that if Christ comes today, he will change, he will look at things differently, which means that he will permit that an action should be carried on in a child like that, because it's not good for a child to suffer while growing up. So Father, generally, that was a collaboration, an agreement between the man and the woman. He said him and the wife. I'm not saying that now I will cite all the situation here, I will say women. Now men collaborate. I was just citing how they collaborate in instances like this. I've had situation where a same situation where a lady brought up an incident of a similar case where they thought that the child was going to die, and they met a bishop who said no, and the child grew up to be very healthy and is now a medical doctor. Yes, there are miracles that occur along the line. So suicide and infanticide, it is something very delicate in our society today. We used to talk about in social studies and religious studies that the load go and offload. What happened? What are the issues? What prompt this situation to occur? What are the brain behind it? And how can we? Father, one lady told me, when I showed her yesterday, she said, why do you discuss on topics like this? Because it is useless. I said, useless? She said, yes. Because if somebody has decided, it will not change them. So I don't think so. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we're coming back to that. Madam Mary Delphine has been silent. Yeah. You know, can we just handle on that? Maybe I'll pick on what Mr. Boaz said. You know, his encounter with a lady who said, what we're doing here is not necessary. Will not really help the society. Will not help the public. You know, looking at suicide and, you know, killing of innocent children. What do you think about that? Because the person must have made up his or her mind that I'm going to do it no matter what happens. Yeah. So what do you have to tell that kind of person?
No, I think she is wrong, because people have made up their mind. We, the brothers, the sisters, the family, we have to play our role to help people, educate them. Like what we are doing here is education, creating awareness. Creating awareness, helping people to realize that this is wrong, or killing of innocent children, we are going to be held accountable for, even though some people don't believe that. Somebody cannot say that we are wasting time because people have made up their minds. Those people who made up their minds, if we show them some love, they can open up to us, they can explain their situations to us. We may, if we can just listen to them, we may see the reason why they are making up their mind that way. And only listening to them may help them to heal a little. And if we are not judgmental, because sometimes we say people have made up their mind because we are too judgmental. When someone comes up that, okay, let's say in the family, is like this, I'm pregnant, the first person say, I don't want to see that bastard. That bastard will not be born in this house. Do away with it. So you can't say that we are wasting time telling people that they should not go committing suicide or killing innocent children. People need to be educated. I think education has been very limited. Education is not only going to the classroom to learn sounds and so on. So education is something deeper, and there is also discipline. I want to say that we have neglected discipline in our society to a certain extent. Yeah, because now there's no self-discipline. You cannot discipline yourself, you cannot discipline others. So if your child comes home pregnant and you cannot discipline yourself, you cannot take it, you cannot maybe talk to her nicely with love, she will, if you can abuse her, send her out, throw her things outside, lock the door, what's the next thing? She will be thinking of going to the boys' place, or she'll be thinking of harming herself. So when you say somebody has made up their mind, it's because you and I push that person to the wall. Yeah. We push people to the wall to make up their mind to maybe not to leave. They don't see reasons to leave because they have no one to talk to. So, but if we are here is to educate, to sensitize, to create awareness. It's not like a waste of time. It's because if all of us it is a collective effort. If all of us in our families and the society can be able to put down our pride, humble ourselves, so that we can be able to listen to people who are in pain, people who are maybe lamenting out there. If you can't listen to someone, you cannot know what that person is going through. Don't go judging somebody without finding out. For example, the lady that killed a child in Bukwango, or the cases that have been happening, there are some persons that maybe heard them say, I'm going to do away with this child, and they say, does that concern me? Is that my business? How do you help that person? So the person says that, what's the use of living? Yeah. In fact, what's the use of keeping the child when everybody is instead insulting me? Nobody encourages you. How do you survive from that? So some of them have committed a crime that they will go to prison. Meanwhile, we are the one who push them to prison. And sometimes we look ourselves to be very holy. Everybody has faults. Everybody has sinned in one way or the other. Everybody has a weak point. Because somebody is saying that, no, I want to maybe commit suicide, or maybe I want to commit abortion, or maybe I want to terminate this pregnancy, or when I give birth to this child, I will strangulate this child and kill this child. And then you say, that is your business. You are not helping that person. That person has been having some bad thoughts and needs someone to talk to. When people come up to us and maybe make some slants that it's like this, I don't see any reason of living, or I'm owing some debts, maybe I should kill myself, you just start laughing that you are a big fool. That's what we, society, tell people. You tell somebody that you are a big fool. Maybe you are the one who is a fool because you have not created time, you have not humbled yourself, you are too proud to listen to that person. Why? If somebody tells you that I am owing so many persons, I feel like terminating my life, and then you say, look at you, you are a fool, you are this, you start insulting that person. In fact, you are insulting yourself, because that person goes and commits the suicide. Your conscience is your judge. You will be on your conscience. You say, but this person told me. You will even be afraid to tell people because you did nothing. So we should not go telling people that maybe we are wasting time to advise someone who is already having thoughts of suicide, or somebody who is pregnant who wants to terminate his or her who wants to terminate her pregnancy. Yeah, because there are many forces behind. There are women, or even married women, that carry their children and they go and dump them in the toilet. Sometimes there is a force behind, maybe from the family. There are men, sometimes they tell the wife, because the wife made a small mistake, the man tells her that, I'm not sure that child you are carrying is mine. She gets crazy. She has been down with malaria or some other thing. She gets mad. Sometimes she needs somebody. If she comes now to me and I just say that that's your fault, who asked you to marry a madman? How am I helping her? So it makes her now to like be thinking of, but why should I give birth to a child that the father does not even honor? So even there are boy children, that pregnant girls, and when you say I'm pregnant, they say, if I hear it, if you call my name, So what happens? Because maybe there is no discipline at home, there is no love at home, she's afraid to go home and tell her parents. She now runs to go and take concoctions and do away with her life or do away with the baby. Yeah, it is happening.
It's happening.
All these things that happen, for me, I say that society, family, we contribute a lot. We are the force behind it. Even though one person goes to prison for the crime, we are the force behind it. Because in my family, if they came to me and I encourage you that, you cannot give birth when you are not married. So go and take some pills and do away with the pregnancy. I have contributed. If I am the one, the boy that got you pregnant, and when you say no, because we are doing, it was love making, it was not for pregnancy. So when I come now that I'm pregnant, you say, you have been moving with men. How dare you say that? Even if she has been moving with men, at least know that there is a situation that maybe after the child is born, you can go and find out if it's your child. Than telling her that if I hear my name,
DNA.
you have pushed her. You have pushed her either to commit abortion, to commit suicide, or maybe to kill herself and kill the baby, or to deliver the child, go and dump at somebody's gate. Okay. There is a big force.
Yeah, we'll come into that. Thank you very much. You made mention of the fact that all have seen and fall short of the glory of God. Romans chapter 3, verse 23. I'm sure Mama Covenant was supposed to say something related to that. Then we would go directly to looking at the causes of this whole thing of suicide and killing of innocent babies. We'll look at maybe the causes. Then I'm sure Madam Kenneth is going to show us the video of what happened in Bukwango. I'm sure maybe there's another one in Garua. Then we can maybe work on that before we look at, we got a task giving a way forward. What are the remedies to this kind of situation? Yeah, but you could just say maybe we'll get to the causes, but really push people, to think about this whole kind of stuff.
Okay, the causes, we started with the remote causes. We said they can be remote or they could be immediate causes. Yeah. Okay, we give them just together. Now, sometimes we said it is on inacceptability. It is inacceptability in society. You don't feel welcomed. You don't feel accepted. The second point is poverty, abject poverty. That you can't feed yourself. You can't feed the baby you're carrying. You can't feed the family you're raising, and suicidal thoughts start coming in. The person starts wondering, why am I alive? Why am I living on earth? Did I really come to this world to come and escort others? So, and then sometimes it is family pressure. Just as Madam Mary said, it's family pressure. We have situations when the parents reject the child, reject the girl who is pregnant. Then even the boy, I've seen a situation where the boy that impregnated, he was a student in school. The boy impregnated and the girl's parents were trying to understand. But the boy's parents came up and say, they are not part of this. They are not even sure it's their son. But when you listen to the other things that the boy does, you begin to wonder. So sometimes it comes from there. The boy's own parents reject the girl and reject the pregnancy. The boy himself has a guilty mind because if anything happens to that girl, he can think of committing suicide. Then we have situations when it is not really from the parents, it's from a peer group of friends, young girls and boys who are moving in a group, and this person thinks he or she should be like this. I am on top and you are down, and they are doing competition among themselves. Then one gets pregnant and she begins to think, okay, we have been drawing a list of our aspirations, our dreams, how we will get there. Now I am out of the cycle. Let me do something very fast and come back to the cycle so that people will not know. Another one is drugs. In this present day, we have a lot of young people who go into drugs. And sometimes you not even know that they are on drugs. They take it quietly. They take it in all forms. If you see what happens, especially in the nightclubs, you will begin to wonder.
Shisha.
Yes, I'm always on the road. I have a job that keeps me on the road most of the time. And sometimes when I enter Boya in the night, when you're moving from this place in Moliko, how do they call that place again? In Moliko, whether it's in J4B or
J4B.
There's a place in Moliko.
J4B.
Yes, where
from Malingo upwards.
yes, if I tell you that you find people sexing on the tar, on the road, you find half naked girls and boys. You see some staggering. Sometimes if you're not careful, you will knock one down. You see some staggering, and you imagine the level of drugs that they have gone through. During the Christmas period, there was a video on social media showing young people in the city of Boya, in the town of Boya, that were exchanging cigarettes from hand to hand and exchanging drugs from hand to hand. Now, once you're already on drugs, your mind is not cleared. You can do a lot of things. You can impregnate somebody and later you refuse it because you were not in your mind. I've also seen a situation where the boy tells the girl not only to do away with the pregnancy but gives the money. And then the child collects the money and the child does not show anybody the money. The child was afraid of the mother. So at one point the child now looked for a way and then came to my house, knocked very early in the morning. I came out and received her and asked what was happening, and she said I should promise I'll not tell her mother anything. I said, if that's what you want, let's talk. We went in and we talked for long, and then I understood that she has actually been taken to the abortion site twice by the boy, and when they get to the door she refuses to go in. She says she may die, and then the boy eventually gave the money to her and left her, and she came back. Now she wants to tell her parents, but she's wondering if the parents will accept, and then she's contemplating what she can do so that she just disappears, because that's what she was saying, that if she can just disappear, just evaporate as she's standing here, that will be better. Those are suicidal thoughts when you're on drugs. Other situations occur when you're forced into a marriage. You're given into a marriage that you really did not desire. Sometimes you say, no, in these modern days, do they still give people in marriage? They do.
They are giving.
They do. They do, and they do it in a very technical way. Sometimes your father wants to keep a business line. Sometimes your mother wants to keep a relationship, and he gives you into marriage. It's a marriage you don't want, and then you go into the marriage. The least thing that man does in the marriage is a problem. Even if the man is a good man, because you didn't want it, you will definitely be complaining and complaining and complaining. And at one point, you start bringing up suicidal thoughts. Another one is, I'll call it these traditional beliefs. Beliefs of that we have put in our minds. In our culture, that's in a particular culture, the girl or the boy has in nature that in our culture, they say that women who have given birth before getting married are worthless, and so a bride price will not be paid on them. Typical example, the Babanki people, they don't have worth for a woman who has already delivered in her father's house, though the child belongs to the father. That's the girl's father, because the boy can't claim the child. It belongs to the girl's father. At the same time, they also hold that woman's bride price must go down. So whatever they were to give as bride price when they are doing marital rights, it goes down, or they will definitely just give you for free. At this point, the girl begins to think he or she is worthless.
She's traumatized.
And nobody has asked that girl or that boy the conditions surrounding the pregnancy. They may not even know what he or she is carrying. Another point, the cause of pregnancy is our schools. In every curriculum, it's been indicated that sex education should be inclusive. From the primary right to the university, sex education should be included. In some of the schools, well, it's there in the curriculum. But if I follow what the students are saying, students used to, I follow a bit. When I go to pick up the kids from school, sometimes I wait 30 minutes out of school, sometimes 1 hour. And the ones that have come out of school are gathered in groups. I follow their discussions keenly. And they will not know that you're following their discussions because you appear to be sleeping and they're chatting. Okay, I followed this discussion where one young boy was telling the girl that this girl seems to just be 12 or 13. So she's just started menstruating. And that boy was advising her that she needs a boyfriend who will help ease the pain during menstruation. Okay, if this girl has not been given proper sex education in school, she would think that what the young man is saying is true. And the friend was there encouraging her and pushing her to go ahead. Another one is greed and dissatisfaction. There are some people that no matter what you give them, they're not satisfied. If there is a student that is never satisfied, the tendency is that student will always want more. When they're leaving the house, you give what you can give for them to feed. You give what you can give as pocket money. Some will go and start comparing. When you compare with people that are above you, the tendency is that you will want to take what is not yours. If you take what is not yours and then the thing comes out, for example, you steal, then you're ashamed of the stigma. You start contemplating suicidal thoughts. You want to kill yourself. You don't want people to know. You don't want your friends to know that you were involved in this type of a thing. But if you spoke out, you would have found out that there are poorer people than you. There are other people in society who don't even have, and yet who don't think like that, who look positively to life, who are grateful for every day that they see. Every day they wake up, they see the sun, they see the moon, they are grateful. And then we have another situation of suicidal thoughts where this one is a situation that we have perverse adults. It's funny to say, but perverse adults Okay, they always say that they are psychopaths. Our society has not really put time to identify psychopaths in society and bring them out. When we were young, I grew up in Bamenda, basically in Damcon Street, Bamenda. That's where I was born and that's where I was bred. Okay, in my secondary school days, we had this man that used to move along the streets. When he sees one or two girls coming, he would stand by the road and try to undress and expose his private part to the girls. And we gave him a name. So when you're moving on the street and you see him coming, everybody drops the bucket and run. Or we drop our things and we run. That was a psychopath. He was not supposed to be moving freely in society. Because there was a lot of talk that he was abusing young girls and children in the society, but he was moving free on the streets. Okay, when we have such funny people in society and our society is not doing anything about it, our society, I don't even think, can identify them because our mad people roam the streets. And not every madman is mad in a particular direction. People are mad in different dimensions. Some are mad but are still wearing clean dresses. Some are mad but still go back to their houses to sleep in the night. They still eat from their mother's pots. When they go out there, they do a lot of things that you cannot think of. And they will see vulnerable children and they will abuse them. And what does the child think next? What am I doing in this life? Then societal support is another factor. When you come from a society where nobody supports you, everybody sees you as bad. Okay, then you begin to wonder, what am I living for? Why don't I just die? Then there is an aspect we are ignoring here, which is a spiritual aspect. Many writers often say that life is 95% spiritual and just 5% physical. Meaning that if God didn't make the mud and did not put the breath of life in it, he didn't breathe into it, there would have been no living being. Because the mud on itself is not a living being. It is the spirit that gives the life, and it is the spirit that is the living being. Many people have in them spirits that are perverted. Some others have in them spirits that are chained. There are others who have mastered spiritual actions and gone into acts of divination and reduced others into spiritual slaves. Things that are deep in dimension but are difficult to be exposed in a panel like this. And so the person feels the pain himself or herself. This person manifests mostly in the dreams. The things manifest in the person's dreams. When night is coming, the person starts wondering how he or she will go and sleep. Because the dream life that the person has is something you cannot even think of. He dreams of masquerades chasing him. He has only backward dreams in his life. He dreams and finds himself in funny places. And if he has not been fortunate to be taken to a church and meet a pastor, a priest who can counsel him, who can baptize him, who can do maybe a deliverance ceremony on him, then you see that the person sits and keeps on thinking of suicidal thoughts. They keep on passing. Meanwhile, there are strange spirits that has possessed the person. And somebody needs to cast them out. In the Bible, we see everywhere where Jesus was casting out demons. And somebody needs to stand in the place of Christ and cast the demon out of that person so that action will not take place. If you look at this case in Bokwango, as Madame rightly said, that she wonders where they take the strength from. If you look at that image very well, the baby was born and the placenta was born and the cord was still attached. The baby and the placenta together, cord attached. And we know that when the baby is born, there should be a lapse, a relaxation period for contractions to build again before the placenta comes out. Only the stress of pushing out the baby is like going to hellfire and coming back. Then the stress of pushing out the placenta, and a single woman is pushing the placenta, is pushing the baby. When you hold and you hold the baby so that you hold the placenta in place, and then you push out the placenta, and then you take your time. In that condition, she is bleeding. We are talking of about 3 to 5 liters of blood involved here. She is bleeding, and then she is carefully. They said there was a towel they used to wrap the baby and the placenta before dropping in the pit toilet, and then she has the strength to stand. Having gone through contractions and relaxations of abdominal muscles
it's not
for a baby to come out, there is a spirit behind it. and then who gives her that amount of strength of force?
Anyway, we'll be coming back to that, Madam Maureen. Kindness, just prepare that little except for us. While Madam Maureen, could you just continue from there? Maybe some of still, maybe we'll look at just a few causes, and then since time is not really a friend, we know that we have short consequences or maybe a way forward. We need remedies. How do we solve this kind of it's a canker that exists among us? Some happens in families and they just cover it. Maybe thanks to the social media, some of these things that have been happening. The social media has come to expose. So, like we said some time ago, the social media is like a two-edged sword. It has the good side and the bad side. You know, thanks to the social media, many persons wouldn't have known of what happened in Bokwango. The person saying Kikaiki, by, for example, without the social media, they wouldn't have known what happened there.
Yes, but I'm still very itchy to comment on the.
Yes, well, Madam Kindness, if the video is available, so that we work on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Kindness.
Is it?
While she prepares that, yeah, you could just.
Right. I was just saying I'm very itchy to comment on that. I don't know if to say our viewer, he was saying that the person he.
That we're wasting our time here to talk about this kind of topic, yeah.
Yes, I want to say that is what has been killing us. Mental health in our society. Can I say Africa is something that is coming up, and we need to tell people that it's a serious issue. Yes, it is not a waste of time. I'm sure what we are saying here today, if there was somebody who was contemplating suicide, or a pregnant young girl somewhere who wanted to do the same thing the friend did in Bokwango, I'm sure what we're doing here is going to help. Yes, because even sometimes when we don't have the platform to do individual counseling, there's one thing I used to advocate, that group counseling will also help what we're doing here. Okay, I took the example of that young girl who died in Moliko, who was telling the friend that I want to die, and the friend didn't take it serious, like we've been saying. It's because like we were saying, we still think that people people tell us they are not serious. We do not take people serious. Yes, because for us, what we consider as illness in our African context is when somebody collapses. When you have malaria, you have typhoid, you have and so on and so forth. We have forgot to know that people are sick mentally and need to be healed, and some of the mental illnesses are even more serious than the physical ones that we see. Yes, so I was just saying that we need to be empathetic and sympathetic beings. Yes, make sure that when somebody says something, don't just wave it aside. Make sure that you put yourself in that person's shoe. Yes, I remember, let me say it, we had when we had one of our topics here, we discussed on suicidal ideation, and one of my friends confided in me that a sister wanted to commit suicide and had already attempted. What I did was just to take that link and send it to her. I didn't know the person in question, I knew only my friend, and it helped a lot. Just her listening to that program we had, that link, and then following up, it helped a lot, because there we talked about the causes, the consequences, how to come out of it, and even told people that it's not necessary to take away your life. You are not the author of your life. God created you, and only God alone has the right to take you away. Coming back to the causes, I still want to dwell more or emphasize on infanticide, which is the killing of young children. Sometimes we think that killing is only maybe when you take a knife and kill the baby, like we're doing births. There is also what we call active infanticide. When you starve a child, you do not feed that child in the house. When you inflict injury and pains that will eventually kill that child, you have killed the child. There's even passive infanticide. When you sit in the house, you neglect. You don't care. You pretend that you don't know that you have children that you're supposed to feed. You abandon them, like we've been talking about cases of abandonment. You see a mother will take a child, go and abandon in the market square, and that child eventually dies. Do not say that it's because you are poor. You have killed that child. And I want to come back to what will really make women, in particular, kill their newborn babies or the children. There's what we call, I think medical persons will explain it better, postpartum depression, where a woman is engulfed with a lot of sadness and sort of for what reason. Maybe it's just because of inacceptability, as we have said here. You give birth to a child, maybe there is a man you thought was the father, not even thinking, and then they are not taking care, they live alone, and we are even seeing that this can transform to postpartum psychosis, which is very more serious, the more swings, and you eventually see a woman strangling the child. Yes, there is also stress, spousal abuse. You give birth to a child, and then maybe you already have 4 or 5 of them in the house. You only imagine the torture you're going through, and you think that the best thing you should do in hiding is to kill that child. And then we also know of parents who kill children, like Mr. Abo already said there. They would think that is to ease the child. Maybe that child has been sick for long, illness, and then they would think that the child is suffering, and they would decide to kill the child. We also talked of very rare, but somebody would think it's not true. One cause I learned about is the fact that you see a man who was responsible would decide that, okay, since maybe I'm retired, I'm out of job, I will not be able to provide for my children, they will suffer, and maybe he or she does not want the family to laugh at him, who decide to kill the children and maybe kill, you commit infanticide and also suicide. Yes, kill the children and kill yourself. I think when you read most of these Western stories, you will see how most women, they will decide, for one, because of spousal abuse, one reason or the other, they kill the children and then kill themselves. Sometimes for young girls who are still students, they kill the children because they want to continue their education. Very simple. Maybe you're pregnant and then you give birth. You think that if you keep the child, you have to sit at home and take care of the child. Maybe there's nobody. And behold, they decide to kill that child. Some, because of stigma, they don't want to be, those who do in hiding, like the case that happened, they don't want in future for somebody to ever know that they already had a child or they gave birth somewhere, especially these teenagers. You see, they want to hide. They want to, how do Mr. Abu was calling it, holy word? They want to pretend to be holy. Meanwhile, they've committed a heinous crime behind the scenes that nobody knows. Yes, that's most of them. They think that, no, if they know that. That's why you see, like we are seeing here, it baffles me because you see a young girl be pregnant for 9 straight months. You will not even see any sign. But some of us, you'll be pregnant, you're going for clinic, you're seeing malaria on and off, you cannot even do this, and it's not that you're doing it intentionally. That is how our system was wired. That is how you be, because even medically, your system changes. It's no more you are carrying another human being in you. So it is very difficult to be the normal you. There are a lot of things that happen, but you see, I don't know what happens. Maybe it's because they already have it in mind. That they will not be already conditioned their mind that they will do it.
It's okay, we'll be coming to that. I'm sure Kindness indicated that we have that video of what just happened. Kindness, over to you.
Oh, placenta over that skin, I don't die, placenta see the skin, placenta see the skin. Mama me, when I take a go. Now kiss your back. They just find way with it. Again, that's what that does. Until not you no, not you what fine picking up and put a fine picking. What's ready for you know die
Mama, so small water to this way. This is terrible. This is terrible. My goodness. I say, I tell you, see, I became big. Hey, no suffer, oh, you know suffer. Wait till the pains a woman at the year of a bomb picking. Hey, terrible. Cold. Nana saw the girl for the hospital. Yeah, move that rope now. They get a bad yo. You get a good outside. You get a trunk.
Yes, thank you very much. That's what just happened, and we've been having several of those kind of sad incidents in Cameroon, out of Cameroon, the southwest region, northwest region, almost all the 10 regions in the country. And we are here also to remind ourselves and to cancel that kind of mindset, like someone was saying, no matter how often and how many times we do remind ourselves of this kind of satanic issue, ungodly issue, those who've made up their minds to do them, they will do them. We know that even one person out of 100, if they listen to this and change your mind, of course, you will help us and you will help the society. That was the video we've been waiting for. Madam Maureen was expecting to say something, but this time around, while she's putting herself together, women always have another kind of reaction when this kind of thing happens. It is like you put yourself in the shoes of that woman and maybe your child. So, Mr. Bo, look, after watching that video, what do you think about it?
Father, that is it is really a sad thing to talk about. The innocent. I wrote a poem one time. The title is "The Cry of the Innocent," and within the poem, I placed a young girl who had delivered the first child and aborted. Delivered the first child and dumped in a pit. And unfortunately for the child died. Then somewhere along the line, the young girl got married, and they used to sing. The musician said, "On attend l'enfant."
Yeah.
And each time she hears the cry of a baby, it re-echoes in her memory. The cry of the innocent. Each time a baby cries somewhere, constantly. She grew up to a mature woman and never had a child, because God gave her the only child and she did not recognize it. So I used to teach my students, sometimes I said, if you don't need it, bring to me or go and give in the hospital. Don't throw in the toilet. All children are blessing. All. There is nothing like unwanted pregnancy. Any vehicle that's plying the road is liable, so you know that you should be careful, because you can have an accident. If one is going on a relationship, sexual relationship, there is open possibility of being pregnant. So I just cancel the phrase unwanted pregnancy. When somebody is indulging in an act, you understand, you look at the consequences or look at the result of that. When we find this in a modern society now, it is that we have a big assignment to make. When I was growing up, I got news of cases where babies were thrown in trash cans, others were thrown in the toilet, and several instances, miraculously, they survive. Several very rare cases have I heard. And deep our local pit toilet, which is highly infected. Several instances. God is a miraculous God. And it's a passing message to everybody that we should go back, really reflect very, very greatly. I think that, like Prof was saying, we need to emphasize on sex education in our schools and in our families. We need to talk that out and sensitize. I go back to what we say, killing. It doesn't only mean that you carry a gun and shoot somebody. It doesn't only mean that you hang somebody somewhere. Abortion is killing. When we deliver a child like that and dump, what has that child done, for goodness sake? It is really sympathetic. There was a situation that occurred of a baby which the man impregnated a girl and refused. That girl was desperate, and she decided in her desperation to carry on bringing up the child as a single mother. That child happened to have been very intelligent and traveled. He came back and went down to back. The mother said, they indicated to the mother, I want to see my father. After 40 years. He went and saw the old man in Bakuri town there. Somebody who insisted on the mother that they should abort the child. The mother refused.
I raised one.
The mother refused. She raised single-handedly. Don't be surprised that a child like that will become something great in our society.
Yeah, we'll be coming to that, Mr. Bo. Thank you very much. And we've been looking at that. We've had the consequences, of course, and somehow we've been talking about the remedies. Particularly, can we just focus, begin with Prof, we'll take two, all of us. We take something, straight to the point. Remedies, what can we do? We've been having this and it keeps on happening. Therefore, we've not been doing our best. What do you think can be done, to save this kind of situation from happening?
Okay, there are many things that can be done, but I'll just speak to also. You talk to the person. Always be around people. Don't allow such people to be alone or to be isolated. Because once they are alone or isolated, the thoughts come into their minds. So once you notice somebody around you with suicidal thoughts, try to always be around the person or make the person be around people. The next one is not just talk. The talk should be give comforting words. Somebody has lost the job and the person is about running mad. Talk to the person, not only comforting words, go material. Be able to give out something material that can ease the pain, that can make the person see reason to live again, that can make the person think that, okay, I don't necessarily need to take my life away. Or sometimes it's just food. Sometimes you give the person shelter. Sometimes you give the person just some small money, a coin or so. Sometimes you give the person a capital. The capital may not be much. There was a situation I narrated here in the crisis that a girl was impregnated in Moyoka by one of the people they say is in the bushes. And nobody could identify who impregnated her, and she gave birth to twins. And then they brought her to Luanga Parish. Somehow I came in that afternoon for private prayers. And a priest was talking to her. So as I entered, the priest called my attention and then said, this is a situation on the ground. Okay. We tried to get a room, to rent a room for her. So because looking at everything around it, there was also the fear of taking her in the house because you don't know who is in the background. So the safest thing was to rent a room. We rented a room for her, got a bed, got a stove, got food stuff, and then decided that, okay, she'll be doing pop-off and beans in the morning, and in the evening she'll be roasting fish. So set up a business for her so that she could raise the two children. Though along the line in her struggle, one of the child died and then one survived. Okay, so intervene in the person's life by bringing real solutions. This is what they call real solutions. Don't give a hypothetical solution, a solution that is not landing, that is not solving a problem. If the person needs company, give company. If the person needs spiritual help, take the person to a priest, a pastor, somebody with a spiritual insight that can understand the person.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bo.
Father, outside one, not two. I had an experience when teaching, and one lady moved out. When I left, I was rushing to the university, and she said, in one of the schools, Form 5 girl, "Sir, can I talk to you?" I remember having read a book, The Mirror by Walter Trubbish, of a young girl who moved into Walter Trubbish's office and wanted to talk to him. He was a psychologist and psychoanalyst. He said, "Well, I have a conference. I'm going to, can you come back tomorrow?" The following day when he was driving, he saw the girl dead by the side of the road. So I told that little girl, I was running to write CA and UB, I'll listen to you. She spoke to me for 2 hours. 2 hours. Back around Ekundo Titi there, they had gone, and the parents were, due to the crisis, the parents were all killed. So she don't know the whereabouts. They had to walk cocoyams and then come back with 3 of them, moved with their friends that they were going to come to school in Boya. And so along the line, some people intercepted them, seized all their money, and they were raped. He said, "Sir, as I'm talking to you now, I'm pregnant." Now that girl in that situation needed a listening ear. So sometimes we have a situation of somebody who have a listening ear. In this case, we say that it is good to give them a listening ear. Some people only need to be talked to, like Sigmund Freud. The talking cure system.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Maureen. I've indicated time is not really a friend. Maybe one way that you think, you talked of listening ear, we have to be closer to them, always move step by step, to be by their side, to guide them. Listening ear also very necessary. What do you think also can be done in maybe to curb this kind of situation happening?
Okay, to curb maybe young girls from getting pregnant and killing their own. I will start by saying that parents should be able to provide the little they have when the children need it. When you do not provide, the tendency is that child will look for it somewhere else and will be lured into what we call this sexual sexual habits everywhere, and then will get pregnant. And when she knows that she is not even able to take care of that child, there will nobody, no way to stay, she will eventually go in for abortion or for killing parents, because it's common to see some parents just give birth to children. They don't care if that child is going to school. They do not provide. I'm talking from experience as a teacher. You go to school the whole first term, second term, and a parent is not able to buy a book for the daughter, for the child. And maybe this kind of children are always, very serious. They want to learn like their friends, and then they are tempted to get it somewhere else, and that is how they get trapped and getting pregnant, and then getting abortion. Or if they are not able to abort the child before the 9 months, they give birth, and then.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Mary Delphine. Women or girls who are pregnant and they have maybe in their minds that they have to do away with the kids. One word for them.
Yeah, I would like to tell them maybe they should love themselves. They should develop much love for themselves. They should not be waiting for someone to love them, and they should love their children who they are carrying. And I also want to say that family, accept them. Accept the children that are pregnant at home. Accept maybe your brothers, your sisters that are pregnant. Accept your relatives that are pregnant. Don't drive them, don't send them away from home. Accept them so that they will also accept the pregnancy. Let's learn to accept our own. Accept your children. You send children away, they can do anything. So for me, if we can accept, if the families can accept the pregnancy, accept the people, accept the pregnant women, love them, show them some love, care for them, give them something that they need, will help them to survive.
Yeah, thank you very much. Then the Lord formed a man, and from the dust of ground he breathed into his nostrils and breath of life, and the man became a living being. And Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 affirms, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. These scriptures reminds believers and all of us that life is not a mere accident or coincidence, but a purposeful and divine act of creation. Thank you very much and have a blessed evening.